Well, on day 4, I had to stay in place at Hastings, and so I didn't have a lot of video footage for the day 4, so I just thought I'd throw together a little something about my boat, talking about the specs and the boat in general. I do have that covered in other places and that, but not all in one spot. I'm at block 18, just kind of waiting out the rain, and it's supposed to rain at least till noon hour today. Been cloudy. It'll start to clear up a little bit later, so I'm just hunkering down here today, and hopefully I'll get enough charge to be able to go to Peterborough tomorrow. And I think it'd be a good morning to go out for some breakfast. Well, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon at Hastings, and I'm just chilling for the day because it was raining all morning. It's pretty much overcast. Well, it is overcast right now, and just using it as a charge-up day. So I finally got my solar controller correctly set. So 404 amp hour capacity, and battery management system seems to be working now after I went back to factory reset. I just have to wait until it gets to a full charge to really make sure that it's calibrated correctly in that. But you can see behind me a little Wave Runner Sea-Doo personal watercraft, and that's owned by this guy Jacob. He's from Wisconsin, and he's been doing the Great Loop on it, and so he spent 4 years doing the Great Loop, and he's now hopefully on his last section. So he just needs to get back to Wisconsin. So Lake Michigan might cause him problems if he gets there too late in the season, but pretty cool. I've been talking with him, and very interesting guy. Anyways, I'm just gonna chill out a little bit longer, do some reading, and monitor battery management system to see, how that everything charges up and if it starts working right. And then tomorrow morning I'll start heading to Peterborough. So 4:45 at Hastings. Overcast and sunny. Storms are over, and supposedly tomorrow is going to be pretty decent. But I've had a great day today. The little Polaris watercraft there is owned by Jacob, and he's doing the Great Loop. So he's an interesting guy. He's from Wisconsin, and we have people in front of us from New York. They're not loopers, but it's up here. But then the next 2 boats in front are loopers, and so that's one of the nice things. It's just talking with people from wherever and having a great time. My Midnight Solar controller is now programmed correctly, and my battery management system seems to be running correctly. and it's now up to just under 90% state of charge, so I should be good for tomorrow to go to Peterborough. So the solar panels on the top of my boat are divided into two arrays. One is 900 watts and the other is about 840 watts in panel size. Now it's a mixed bag. I've got a mixture of, at the back, the old ones are 220 watt panels. I have them in series with a 185 watt panel, and then the ones at the front are all 180 watt panels plus one 185 watt panel. So a little mixed bag, but current wise they're very similar, and they seem to work together quite well. Not perfectly matched, but pretty good. So that gives me two arrays. On an average day like today, nice and sunny out, well, mostly sunny. At this time in the afternoon, between like 12 and 2, I generate around between 600 and 700 watts of power. So that seems to be pretty good. Right now I am just docking, and if I had the panels turned on, which I turned the controllers off right now, it would just continue to charge the batteries. The boat is 18 feet long and 8 feet wide, and it cruises not too bad, but I am going to improve it. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is changing the shape of the bows. I'll have to extend the bows by about a foot and make them more curved. You can see there's a wad of weeds floating there. That's what I brought in as I came to dock, because it just seems to plow the weeds, any floating weeds. It'll get caught around the bow. I have to actually lean over the bow and clear it. So I want to fix that problem. I want to extend the pontoons by 2 feet. That will balance out the boat a lot better. So it'll increase the hull speed by a tiny bit, but it also will level out the boat. Right now, if I am going along at say 8 kilometers an hour, sitting there right where I normally sit, and then if I get up and walk to the front, the speed will actually increase by from 8 to about 8.3, maybe 8.4 kilometers an hour. So I know I could, just by leveling it out, I could make quite an improvement. So those are some of the things I'll be doing over the winter time to improve the performance. And next year perhaps I will go to a larger motor. So these are my two solar controllers. They're Midnight Kids. This is my old original one, and I use that for my second array, and this is my newer version. I use that for my first array, but basically they're both the same, and I have them connected together so that they're synchronized with each other. Each controller is each of these Midnight Kid controllers is 30 amp output, or that's its maximum. And so I have breakers set up. I have for controller number 1, I have a 30 amp breaker here that's going to the batteries, And then this is a 15 amp breaker that goes to the solar panels. And I do the same on my second Midnight Kid. I have a 30 amp I have a 30 amp breaker there and 15 amp breaker there. I think those breakers are a little bit overkill. Even though it's a 30 amp output, breakers don't usually trip until I don't know, 20%, something like that added onto it. So unless there's a short circuit or something like that, they'll probably never trip, but that's what they're there for. Anyways, it's nice to be able to individually control everything. The solar panels, if I want to turn the panels off just to for testing purposes, I could do that. These other switches, these are for my linear actuators. So each of the posts on the four corners are all linear actuators, and that's what I use. That's what I use for controlling what side I want to raise or lower. And I have the capabilities of either lowering it or raising it from port or starboard side, or even fore and aft, which I rarely use, but I do have that capability. And over here is this big box. This is my head. And it's fully compliant with Ontario's requirements with a black water tank. On this side is my little kitchenette. I don't have my propane bottle connected up right now, but now I only use this stove and that when I have everything opened up, because it's propane. Don't want to use it in a closed environment. And my little sink that I just got from the dollar store. This is just a dollar store salad bowl, and then I bought the attachment and from the hardware store I made it into a sink. Okay, just looking around on the inside of my boat with the enclosure down. And the enclosure works pretty good. Mosquitoes do get up through the edges a little bit, so I'm going to do a modification to that. I'm going to put all the sides up, and what I've added here, the way I roll them up, I just have Velcro straps in the top. Even though that these are all designed that they could zipper out if I wanted to take them right out, but I don't bother. I just roll them up. One of the things I added this year is a hard top, and this was just to prevent, I have a canvas above that, and before the canvas would just sag down when it rained, and then I'd have a puddle of rain water here and I'd have to clear it off. So I decided I'd make a little hard top that goes go under the canvas, and this is just door skin, 1/8 inch door skin, and I glassed one side of that and the epoxy the other side, so the inside is just epoxied and varnished, and I just have them in 4 quadrants so I could put them on, just screw them down from the side, or if I want to take them all off for maintenance purposes, I could do that. It works quite well, and all the rain stays off. So one thing I forgot to show is how I put my curtains up at night. So I have up right at the very top a magnet here and a magnet here, and I have those in key spots all around the boat. Then for my curtains, I just used some Canadian flags, and I've gooped on it a washer, and that just goes there, there, and now my curtains are hanging up quite nicely. I'll do that for the entire boat. To take them down, and that's all there is to it. For my other curtains, the heavier duty curtains that I use 2 magnets, one here and then one embedded inside the canvas. I just have it glued inside with a bit of goop, and that is very solid. Anyways, that's how I attach my curtains. Okay, so I showed the head under this box enclosure, and it might seem to people that it's a little bit cramped, and it can be. But what I have is a little switch down here. Just have to push it. And it brings it up another 16 inches. 14 inches maybe. So now, plenty of room. And when I want it to go down, this side, this is where I have my battery bank. 10 kilowatts of batteries. Each cell is 202 amp hours, and I have them doubled up, so I've got 2 in parallel. Gives me 404 amp hours, and then I have 8 of those in series to give me my 24 volt nominal. That's my BK battery management system, and right there is it's a little shunt, and that goes to the midnight solar controllers. So I've got 2 ways of monitoring state of charge and amp hours. One is through the midnight solar, and one is through the BK BMS. That's what I'm going to be testing today there, all the cushions are back in place. All right. I'll be lowering the motor next and backing out through this weed bed. So I'm going to be getting all kinds of weeds around the prop, and then I'll have to de-weed it as soon as I get out of here. I've got a little fiberglass collar around where the junction of the prop and the housing goes, and that prevents things from wrapping in between the prop and the housing. And I have a little razor blade attachment which helps to cut the weeds, but really the collar does things pretty good, but I have to throw things in reverse to get rid of all the weeds. Anyways, that'll be what I'll have to be doing next.